Hey YouTube, how you going? We are continuing on with our Zettelkasten note-taking inspired application. Maybe, I'm not logged in, am I? Oh no, I am. What I'll do is, just in case you haven't been following along with previous videos, we're coming up with a lot of startup ideas, and for the time being, I'm just interested in trying to build something that I might actually use to fully test out the functionality of coding with AI, and that's really what this channel is all about. So for those of you who aren't aware of a Zettelkasten system, basically you have sources, you create notes from those sources, and then you can link them based on tags. In our current project, we've previously created our auth backend, which is now embedded as a submodule, and then we're calling the working name of this project is just knowledge bank, and we've gone through and we've created some components for adding notes, adding sources, and getting notes. Now, I just want to add a little bit more functionality before we probably move on to creating the front end and testing out how good AI is with writing front-end code, and you'll probably see from a few of the browser tabs here, I've looked at Vercel and Bolt, V0 from Vercel, that is. And yeah, but before we do that, I do want to add some more functionality. So we've been working with this prompt style, which has been doing a fantastic job for us. So what I want to do is, I've just added this as a new page. I thought it might be a good idea to save all of the prompts, and then maybe over time I get a little bit better and better at them, rather than like cutting and pasting and typing over once. So this is all background information on the project. We're not going to repeat ourselves. This is to give Claude knowledge that in its knowledge base of files that are going to be important for it to understand, primarily the use of the auth backend, and then all of our file structure is in this structure.md file. Project considerations using Express.js 5, and we give a little bit of insight in terms of the error handling middleware as well. So for the user story, we do have a set of user stories already running, already saved. So I just find where we got that. Yeah, so we're just going to take this user story, which is to delete a note. Don't know why it didn't. Why has it got this? Yeah, delete. Paste. So in your project models for notes, yeah, Node.js, blah, blah. Okay, so code preferences. What I want you to do is write the code. We're going to need a delete request to get notes, maybe slash note slash note ID. That all stays the same. It'll be, now again, if you haven't watched my previous videos, we and I've just probably published one before this, or maybe coming up shortly, talking about why we consolidate all of our code into these kind of really detailed folders. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a folder called delete note. And then within that, we're going to change all of these to delete note. So there'll be a delete note route, a delete note controller, a delete note service, a delete note util. Again, a little bit of overkill sometimes, but it helps AI really do things. And if required, a delete note.deletion. I don't think we will need one, but hey. So controller accepts the request to get to delete a note by ID. So we want to delete the note by ID. A controller calls a service in delete note, which in turn calls any utils in our delete note utils. Yep. Then what we will say is in here, when we delete a note, do we delete the source as well? I'm just thinking on the front end, probably if someone deletes a note, we could then ask them if they want to delete the source, which might then be a separate API call. So we do not delete the source, and we do not delete the tags. Yeah, so I think that should be sufficient. So what we're going to do is come over to Claude, I'm going to cut and paste this in here, and we're going to hit send. And what we will do is, should be able to come out of that. And there's our delete note. So I might just pull this top, and then just go h2 prompt previous prompts. We should probably set this up as a template in Notion. Can't be bothered at the moment. Should we? Yes. Good question. The user should be the owner of the note. Yes, this is also an authenticated route. Yes, for linked nodes and sequential links, we So basically in the functionality that we're thinking of, there's ability to link notes not only by tag, but say you read a book and there's, because with the Zettelkasten method, the idea is that each note is one single point. So, you know, you might, these aren't really good examples here, I'm trying to think. So say you were reading a book about how to do public speaking. You know, this is simplistic. Speak clearly. Look at your audience. Engage by asking questions. If these shape, say these yellow book on public speaking. So these are all going to be linked obviously by the source as well, but you might also have other notes that aren't necessarily directly about public speaking. Maybe there's also like how to dress for presentations. Right. This might also be covered from this book. It might also be covered from this source, but you want to say link these notes in a sequential order because yeah, when you think about going up to speak to someone in this particular instance or speak public speaking, the first thing you want to do is obviously speak clearly. If you're good at that, you want to try and engage your audience, look at them, sorry. And then if you can keep looking at your audience, you obviously want to move to the next step of engaging, asking questions to engage more. So it's like a logical chain. Whereas, you know, maybe this one isn't part of that same chain, even though it's from the same source. And then of course you can tag them so that, you know, this one might be tagged with asking questions or something like that as well, so that it comes up for other things that are tagged similarly across multiple sources. Anyway, long-winded thing, we're getting away from it. For tags, yes, in the tag array, tag model, we should we hard delete or soft delete? So we're gonna have a hard delete because separately later on we might have a archive functionality. No need for audit logging. For validation. For validation, yes, validate the note ID. But the user can delete notes, other notes, as we will be removing notes as per my comment on the linked notes and sequential links. Alright, on the front end we probably would have something like, hey, just letting you know if you delete this note, it's also going to delete references to it anywhere else. But for the purposes of this piece of functionality, obviously we just need the ability to delete a note. Yes. Oh, yes, create all files. Thanks for wasting another message. Alright, great. So now what we do is we'll pull this over here, come here in our components, delete note. And start with file, delete note.route.js. Copy, paste, save, copy, delete. Then in our routes folder, we've got to bring in delete notes and route.use notes. Cool. So if we then come to Postman, if we go to, I know I need to tidy this up. Login. Oh, are we not running? Right, login, get our token, copy, not create, nope, yeah, get, no, not health check. Let's get all of our notes, headers, bearer, paste, send, great, and then what we're going to do is we will just duplicate this, change this to delete, get rid of the body. There is none, great. And then we've got to put our ID here. So if we come over here, let's do this new note too. So we just copy this, copy, put that here, hit send, note deleted successfully. If we come back here, hit send, we've now only got one note, which is fantastic, and new note 2 has disappeared. If we come here, actually, I'll do a failed one in a second, but that functionality works, so that's fantastic. So now what we want to do is we want to come back over to Notion. We want to copy this. So this is our test prompt. Let's go back into our delete note prompt. We'll just go H1 here for creating functionality. And then H1, no, not H2, H1 for testing functionality. Then, alright, so this becomes delete note. Copy our user story. All right. Yep. This will be here. This file name will be delete. So that we need to create a test user. All right. So example, if we send this out, if we call this API endpoint, so we copy this, is that, and it returns. I do just want to check one thing actually. If we go to, okay, it is using our error types, which is great. So what are those? So not authorized. So if we don't have a bearer token, so let's just do, just get rid of, Come on. Delete. Right, now let's go here. Let's just change this 9 to like a 1. Send. If we call the endpoint with an ID that doesn't exist like this, we get this response. Copy. And then we do not need to test for stack, path, or error type, as these are development only fields. And then what we would do is 9, and then let's go header. I know that note already, actually, yeah, let's take off that. Hopefully it fires the authorization, yep. And let's just copy this. When not authorize, so if no ID doesn't equal user ID. So we'd need to log in as a different user. But I think with those examples, it should be okay. So if not, please just file this as an example, as another example. Okay, cool. Let's copy this. Whoa. Let's try and do this in the same chat. Should have awareness. So we'll paste that. Typically, we've done this in a separate chat. So I do just want to test this out. I mean, obviously, it should be better in the same chat. One, yes. 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 No, don't think we need to test that. So while it's doing that, we'll go delete note.test. Copy. Save. I always forget the syntax. It is, yeah, npm okay. What's happening here? Should return a 400. No, it should return 404. So a few more tests failed than we'd normally hope for. I kind of have come up with the idea that if it can pass about 75% of the tests first time round, it's normally good. So I'm just going to say we get these errors. Is this a gap or bug in the functionality? Or are the test case conditions different to what we And if this doesn't work, what I might do is okay, it didn't include the token version. We probably need to be a bit more specific with the test, because that is something that has happened quite a few times. So valid token. Let's just quickly look at now auth backend, adding a new source, that test. So yeah, valid token test user dot token version. So that should now work. Test user doesn't have token explicitly set. So let's run the test. If not, we'll add that in again. I did tell it to create the test user. Let me just double check with our Notion. Maybe I cut and pasted an older prompt. Yeah, I haven't. That's my mistake. This needs to be updated. In a previous I'll do this off camera as we stand out. Am I going to see that? In a previous test, I updated it in the Claude message, but I hadn't updated it in that thing. So 2 failed still. Let's just check what this is. Invalid ID. Not authorized. Okay, I think it's just a slight. The second one's how test consideration. We get these 2 errors. I believe the second one is just formatting the error differently to what the test case expects. Can you advise both? Okay. You're correct. So we just need to update this. Cool. Happy days, ticks across the board. And if we look at the functionality, hundreds, awesome stuff. Exactly what we wanted to see. Took a little bit longer just there with some back and forth, but I think that was a mistake on my side with the prompting. Originally, I forgot here, obviously, to tell it to include token version. So we can fix that up for the future. Obviously, fairly simplistic functionality in that there's not a lot of validation. And it's just deleting stuff, but that's taken around 26 minutes, including me talking and showing you things in Miro. So, 20 minutes probably all up to create some new functionality. Definitely much quicker than even writing it out, I think, from scratch. And I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.